Lionel Messi's toughest decision, forced to leave Barcelona. Lionel Messi had worn the Barcelona jersey since childhood and saw the club as his home. At just 13 years old, he left Argentina and moved to Catalonia to chase his dream. He grew up in La Masia's youth system and etched his name into football history over the years. For him, Barcelona was not just a football club, it was family. However, in the summer of 2021, everything changed. The club's financial struggles and management crises forced Messi to make a decision he never wanted to make. That summer, chaos reigned at Barcelona. The club had been sinking into financial ruin for years due to poor transfer decisions and mismanagement. La Liga tightened its wage regulations, making it nearly impossible for Barcelona to sign new players. But the biggest problem was Messi's contract. Even though Barcelona wanted to offer him a new deal, La Liga's financial fair play rules prevented them from registering it. For Messi, who had been loyal to the club for years, this was devastating. Throughout this process, Messi had multiple meetings with club president Joan Laporta. Every time, he was reassured that he would stay. However, one day, Laporta sat down with Messi and with teary eyes admitted, "We did everything we could, but it's impossible for you to stay. La Liga's rules are stopping us." Those words marked one of the hardest moments of Messi's career. Leaving Barcelona had never been an option for him. But now, even the club could not keep him. A few days later, Messi sat at home with his family. His wife, Antonella, couldn't hold back her tears. Barcelona was not just a football club for them. It was the city where they had built their lives and raised their children. Even their young sons, Thiago, Mateo, and Ciro, sensed something was wrong. Antonella looked at Messi and said, "This is so hard, Leo, but maybe a new beginning is what we need." Messi just shook his head. He had never envisioned playing for another club. Time was running out, and Messi had to make a decision. The club had scheduled a press conference to bid him farewell. That morning, as he drove to Camp Nou, his heart felt heavy. As he walked into the stadium, all the club staff, technical team, and players were there to support him. When he stepped onto the stage, he couldn't hold back his tears and began to speak. "This is one of the hardest moments of my life. I always thought I would stay here forever, but it's no longer possible. I am leaving, but Barcelona will always be in my heart." At that moment, a deep silence filled the room. Coaches, teammates, club staff, and even journalists were emotional. After spending 21 years at the club, Messi was no longer just a legend, he was now a symbol of heartbreak for every Barcelona fan. After the press conference, Messi returned home with his family. His phone wouldn't stop ringing. Europe's biggest clubs were eager to sign him. Manchester City, Chelsea, Juventus, and Paris Saint-Germain had all presented offers. But Messi didn't want to rush his decision. That night, he sat in his bedroom, looking at the trophies he had won with Barcelona and his old jerseys. "Do I really have to leave?" he wondered. But the reality was clear. He could no longer stay, and he had to find a new club to continue his career. The next day, talks with Paris Saint-Germain intensified. His former teammate Neymar called him and said, "Everything is ready for you here. I want to play with you again." Until that moment, Messi still had doubts, but Neymar's words reassured him. PSG could offer him the familiar environment he was used to in Barcelona and a team capable of competing for the Champions League. Finally, the decision was made. Messi and his family boarded a flight to Paris. As the private jet landed, thousands of PSG fans had gathered at the airport to welcome him. Banners reading "Bienvenue Messi," "Welcome Messi," waved in the air. In that moment, Messi thought about his memories in Barcelona one last time. But it was time to turn the page and embrace a new chapter. On the day he signed his PSG contract, he took one last look at Camp Nou. Barcelona would always be in his heart, but now, a new challenge awaited him. And so, one of football's most emotional farewell stories was written. For Messi, Barcelona was never truly over, but in Paris, a new legend was beginning. In his first few days in Paris, Messi's mind was still in Barcelona. During his first training session, even though he was wearing a PSG jersey, he felt like an outsider. After practice, he sat alone on the pitch, reminiscing about his first goal at Camp Nou and the first time he heard fans chant his name. Everything was starting over, but he carried his past with him. When he played his first match for PSG, thousands of fans chanted his name. They knew his place in football history and welcomed him with open arms. But Messi had one thought on his mind. Even if I wear this jersey, Barcelona will always be my home. During his first few weeks in Paris, Messi struggled to adjust. He tried to blend into the team, but Camp Nou's atmosphere and the memories of his past haunted him. Even when he explored the city with his family, his eyes subconsciously searched for the blue and red colors of Barcelona. In this brand new city, he looked for traces of the home he had left behind. And so, Messi's career went through one of its biggest transformations. He was now in Paris, but his soul remained tied to the colors of Barcelona. One thing was certain. No matter where he played, he would always be remembered as one of football's greatest legends.